What it does for me is it sort of sets the scene, right, for this cataclysmic collision of dire economic consequences, right, or dire economic circumstances.
Well, I mean, if we don't do something about it, and that's why I'm so excited to be on your show tonight and have this conversation, and that's why we put this paper out now instead of waiting until, you know, our proposal is very preliminary, so instead of waiting until it was final, we thought this is really important. We really need to have this conversation. We'd really like to get the debate moving to the next stage.
Now, let's talk about the solutions that are provided in that proposal. So if you could sort of break it down for me. So for those folks out there who's never heard about it, who never read this proposal, I had a chance to read it. I think it's amazing, or I think it's a great solution that we have. I think there's multiple solutions out there. But what is your solution? And then let's talk about it a little bit.
Sure. So our solution is actually pretty different than any other solution out there right now. We've seen a lot of solutions that call for more government intervention, so let the government take the hit. We've seen the complete opposite, and ours is somewhere in the middle. We think that the right solution is a public-private partnership, so we need to engage the private sector. And so what we're calling for is a private fund. So we're calling this fund the Student Debt Investment Fund, SDIF, and what this does, in a nutshell, is it asks companies to voluntarily give capital, put in some equity into this fund, and this fund will in turn buy student loans. It will buy public loans and private loans, and it will put them all in this fund, and in the process, it will restructure the debt, so it will refinance the debt, and it will give a haircut to the actual amount, so it will discount the total amount outstanding. And there's different ways you could structure that, because you don't want to make sure you're only getting bad loans. You want to get a good mix of loans. So it could be, you know, public loans that have, or government-held loans that have a reasonable assurance of repayment. It could be loans from the employees at those companies as it starts out, as the fund builds itself up. But what's happening here is that the students are going to get, just as if you refinance your home, the students are going to get relief on their monthly payment. The government is going to get reduced exposure, which is really important, because right now there's such a climate in Congress that, you know, about deficit reduction, about reducing the debt, about balancing the budget. So I think that any politically viable solution at this point has to have a component in there that talks about debt, you know, reducing the debt exposure, which right now is about $850 billion, and you know, last year they added $100 billion, so over in just 1 year. So you could see the magnitude that this debt is causing onto the total federal deficit. So what this solution does, this private fund, it gets companies in the game. It reduces government exposure. It gives relief to the students, and in return, the companies are incentivized because we propose that they'll get some kind of tax credit, so a tax benefit for their investment. So kind of it's a win-win-win, if you will, situation if you structure it appropriately.
Now, speaking about that structure, so what happens, and there's going to be, I think there's going to be that argument to be had about individuals saying we can't have the private sector do it. The private sector is what sort of screwed up our student loan debt crisis to begin with predatory lending, and they got the Wall Street bankers and tycoons would probably invest in this fund, got us into this mess.
So that's a really great question, and actually, what the beauty of this fund is that it's a secondary market only. What that means is that the government we recognize that the government plays an essential role in providing funding, providing financing for education to those who may not be able to go to college otherwise. They fill market gaps, especially during the financial crisis. They really stepped in and stepped up. They bought back a lot of private loans when the capital wasn't available in the capital market. So the secondary market would only fund loans. They would not originate new loans. So that would still be left to the government, and the fund would interact with the government. So that's the public-private partnership. On top of that, the fund would have oversight by the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So what's going on here is that you've got checks and balances. This fund would not be eligible to issue new loans. The student would not be engaging with the fund. Sort of like when you refinance your house, you go through your bank to do that. So they would still work through the government to do that. And it actually fits because the CFPB just put out a new proposed rule yesterday that they were going to start supervising private loan servicers. And so they would under this fund, they would already be doing that.